Hi, everyone. Sorry about that. My dog started barking. Um, let's welcome Mims this evening to our interview. Hi, Mims. How are
Hi,
you?
everybody. Oh, good to see you
Welcome.
all.
Yeah,
Or one of
welcome
you,
to one
two,
of our.
300. I don't know.
Oh, I'm sure there's hundreds watching tonight,
I
Mims. Now
hope
you
not.
know you're here. Thousands. There you go. Anyway, so we just want to welcome you, Mims, and everyone's tuning in. And we do this once a month now, and we've been doing it since lockdown began. And we just want to talk to guys about their faith journey and how you've got to where you are, how your relationship with Jesus, where it's at, where it's been, where it's even going. And I've been quite looking forward to this because you're like me. We get quite excited about little things. And I always remember once that Mims said to me, I'd gone. She's looking worried.
I am
I'd
worried.
I'd gone away to a conference and I actually ended up going on my own, and I was really very nervous. And I spent the whole journey praying about my arrival there, if I had to share a room with anyone or what was going on when I got there. And I arrived and I got given my room key and I sat and waited uh, in there, and I thought, I think I've only got one roommate. And then I was texting Mims at the time, and she said, "Yeah, your roomie's Jesus." And it that has really stuck with me because we've been talking a lot lately over the last few weeks, especially with the kids and the young people, about how Jesus has he's always with you. He's got our hand, hasn't he? He's constantly
Definitely.
holding our hand, and especially in those anxious moments. And through praying all the way there, and the realization that when I got there I was safe because Jesus had hold of my hand. And you back that thought up with that text. And it's just
Oh,
so, yeah, Mims's timing is great.
sometimes.
Yeah, Tom might not agree, but let's see. So, yeah, Mims, take us back to the beginning. When did you first get to know Jesus?
Okay. Um, I don't always tell everyone my story because I was actually abandoned as a baby and found outside a fire station, and I've never really shared because that's not true. That would be so much more dramatic, though, wouldn't it? Oh, I'm really sorry. I don't have an exciting story like that. Yeah, so I have always been to church, grew up in a Christian family. So I've got lovely memories actually of being really little, sitting on little Sunday school chairs with like wooden curved backs and little spindly legs, and being given little snacks and singing Christian songs like from a wee dot. So I grew up, started off in a Methodist church and then a Baptist
Same
church,
as
and
me.
both churches actually had amazing kids work. So they would do kids clubs in the summer and Easter, and so I've just grown up learning about Jesus really. And then I went when I was about 10 to a Billy Graham thing, Mission 1980 or whatever it was. No, it must have been after 80, 83, 84, I don't know. I was about 10. And it was an awesome event, massive, loads, thousands of people. And he was talking about if you wanted to give your life to Jesus. To be honest, I think I'd done that, but I've never done it kind of officially. So I did go down to the front and officially gave my life to Jesus. And what I can say is my life, it wasn't like a massive change or anything, but the difference was I owned it. I'd made that decision, and from then on, sort of my prayer life and reading my Bible, there were like nurture groups and things afterwards. So you went to a group and were encouraged to sort of pray out loud and do all of those sorts of things. And from then, I would say it was my faith, not my parents. So, and I remember telling friends at school as well, and I'd never kind of told people before that I was a Christian and that I loved Jesus. So that was kind of the proper beginning, really, was when I was about 10.
That's amazing. That must have been quite overwhelming as well. There must have been loads of people there.
Yeah, it was a huge event.
Quite a big thing for a 10-year-old, you know. It's your confidence in Jesus holding your hand at that moment in time.
Yeah, no, yeah, it was an exciting event, but so I think even at school I was kind of known as a Christian. Yeah. I was also like in the girls' brigade and stuff like that, so I used to play my drum, go, and we'd have to do like street parade, so it's very public. And then so kids from school would see me, and then they'd mock me the next day at school because they would like do the drums and up to my nose and stuff, and I was like, yeah. And I remember one kid used to think I was going to be a nun when I grew up. So recently I met him, actually. We had a school reunion just a few years ago, and I said, I'm not a nun, but I am a vicar's wife. But yeah, people kind of accepted it, but yeah. So yeah, I just grew up knowing Jesus, which is a privilege, isn't it? So yeah. I've had no wham bam change. You know, I wasn't one person then another. I haven't had a massive transformation, I don't think, in my life, but I've had an awesome privilege of being able to say that I don't remember a day when I didn't know God's love with me.
Yeah, yeah. And so he's been on that journey with you, where from the age of 10 then you know you'd carried on through school, finished school, went to uni, and
yeah, so uni's a funny one, isn't it? Because again, that's another change.
Yeah, and how do you manage to stay in, you keep your faith strong at uni?
So I made a conscious decision that I would seek out other Christians and I would go to church. I went to Cheltenham, and right outside my window there was actually a chapel building, so which was quite handy because I could just sort of roll out of bed and there it was. They knocked it down not that long after, but so I had to travel a bit further. But I kind of went around asking, I think, and I found one other person in the whole of my halls that was a Christian, and I think she came to church with me once, and then that was it. But I did find other people that from other courses and things. So I joined. Yeah, we called it chapel. That sounds really old-fashioned, doesn't it? So there was chapel, and then there was the Christian Union. So I did all of that stuff, as well as night clubbing and going to the pub and everything else. Yeah, I had a great time.
So did you ever get asked the question when you're in a nightclub, why are you drinking? You can't do that. You're a Christian.
Not really. I think I'd actually through my church youth group, this is I was actually I was one of the younger youth at the youth group. So about 12 there were people that were sort of 10 years older, 22 at the time, and then as I got older they were still there. So I went night clubbing when I was about 12, 13.
Yeah, that happened a lot when we were younger.
We didn't used to have ID.
There were less.
Well, you did have to have ID if you didn't look 18, but thankfully I looked 18 with my perm and my white stilettos and my very mini skirt that my dad said, you're not leaving the house wearing that. I would go. So yeah, so I'd hold a hand of a 10-year-old, 10 years older chap and then get in easily. So so by the time I was 18 and going to university, nightclubs weren't a massive deal, to be honest. So
yeah, you grow out of them by the time you're the right age.
so I still enjoyed it and went clubbing, but I didn't ever really drink to excess. I didn't want to. And I think that was when my Christian faith came in, really. I didn't feel that it was the right thing to do, so I didn't get drunk. I was normally the person holding my friend's hair when they're vomiting. And actually doing that quite a few times puts you off drinking to excess.
Yeah.
I didn't really like vomit, but I was kind of that person. I think the fact that Tom and I didn't sleep together, that was the biggest thing for my friends. But actually nobody mocked me for that. They were all very respectful and gobsmacked, really. Yeah. So Tom would come and stay, but he'd often go and stay at a friend's house rather than actually with me. Yeah. So particularly the chaps, they'd all be going, why, how? But actually, one of them became a Christian, actually, and he said some of our conversations and seeing my integrity at that time really helped in him becoming a Christian. So,
yeah, and that shows, doesn't it, how influential we are, and people do look up to it. They do respect that we have a faith and we follow it. So we're getting some questions from Andy here. It's a little bit of
was it love there. At first sight?
Yeah.
No, it wasn't, Andy. So so I met Tom when I was 14. So his parents moved to a church that was in quite a rural area, and so he actually turned up at my church, and but he was really well spoken at the time, and a little bit arrogant, and a bit of a know-all. So no, I wasn't that keen. But then it was quite simple. All he had to do, he just opened a door for me, and was chivalrous, and I was a bit like, swoon, because the kids at school didn't open doors for me. So that was the thing that got me. And then we just got on really well, and went to Greenbelt, and shows that I'm a different size to what I am now. He used to carry me around on his shoulders, and yeah, we just used to have a really good laugh. And then
we'll have to get him to do that.
I need to lose a bit more weight before he can carry me on his shoulders. And I remember cooking his first meal that I ever cooked for him was cheese on toast. You'd think that was simple. I was so nervous, I forgot to even toast the bread. So it was just like melted cheese on bread. It was quite nice. Yeah, and then it shows how old we were at the time. A friend told me he was going to ask me out. But on that evening when he was going to ask me out at this party, I can't remember what sort of injection. I had to have an injection because I was going on a Spanish exchange, and I was really ill. I was vomiting like anything and stiff and couldn't go. And I was like, oh, I'm not going to be asked out. And my dad was like, you're going to bed, you're ill. And I was like, I'm going to the party. So I didn't go out. So he didn't ask me out when I was 14. And so I had to wait quite a few months before it actually happened.
Oh.
So yeah, I was 15. Yeah, I'd had my birthday. It was around Valentine's Day. We'd gone skating, ice skating. He was very good at ice skating. He did it as a sport at school. I was okay. I was going really fast, and then somebody fell over in front of me, and I literally had to jump over the ice, landed on my chin. So yeah, that wasn't good. So on our first date, so after that, he asked me out. Well, he didn't actually. He told me I was going out with him, he just went, "Are you doing anything tomorrow?" And I said, "No." He said, "I'll pick you up at 7:30. So I didn't have a choice. That was it. So yeah, my first day, I had a big
Bruised
scab
on
on
the
my
chin.
chin.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, the rest is history.
Oh, so were you two at different universities? Is there about 2 years difference between you?
Yeah, about 18 months difference.
Yeah.
So he finished, so he 2 school years between us. So he did a year in industry, like a gap year, but he worked that year. And then he went off to Exeter. And then,
Oh, that's where Ethan is, isn't it?
yeah.
Yeah.
And then I went in the opposite direction. I went to Cheltenham. Yeah.
Ah,
So, but we actually got married when I was still studying. So I was in my 4th year. Which is weird to think. It would be like Ruben getting married in the summer.
yeah.
Yeah.
Wow. Yeah, it
I
is
was
a bit
21 when I got married. Yeah.
it is a bit
I had my
scary.
final year to go. But actually it was really good for us because instead of me spending hours on the phone and trekking down to see him and stuff, I didn't have all my friends in my house to procrastinate with. He would go off to work and I was on my own. So I had to do some study in my final year. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh,
Yeah, so it worked out well.
wow. So then when did you both come to Western?
Okay, so I was in Cheltenham for 17 years. Tom was engineering in Cheltenham and did some programming and stuff like that, but then got more and more involved in our church, which is an Anglican church. And Ruben was part of this, actually. Ruben, when he was really little, said, "Daddy, build house on rock." And that was just at the time Tom was thinking about working for the church. So we kind of took that as a prophetic sign.
Yeah.
So yeah, Tom started working with the church. And then after talking with the bishop, became clearer really that he was called to full-time ordained ministry. And that's when we moved, well, not to Western, we went to Bristol for 2 years, Trinity College. Went to Vicar Factory, which was amazing. Loved it there.
Yeah.
And then came to Western. So I don't know how many years ago.
Wow. How long have you been at Locking?
I think we've been here 7 and 4 at the other. So what's that? 11.
Wow. 7 years at Locking Castle.
So I think this might be our 8th Christmas.
Wow. Like seems to have gone so quick.
I know. I still feel a bit of a newbie.
Yeah, I was only looking at Joe the other day, and he's got really tall and gangly, and he's 14 at the moment. And I can remember when Ethan hit 14, he was tall and gangly, and then got his glasses.
He still is.
Joe's got glasses now, and he's just got that similar stature as Ethan, and I just hope he does as well as Ethan.
Oh,
so,
yeah,
it'd be great. They're just lush, aren't they? Even though you could probably snap them across your leg. But so you've had an amazing journey. You put it down, but actually the fact that you have been really strong in your faith from a young age, you for want of a better word, you took control of your own faith, you took ownership of it, and you've walked along that journey with all these people at school who would say, oh, you shouldn't do that, you can't do that, or you're silly for doing that, and you stood your ground all the way. You've had Jesus at your side, you've been strong in your decision making through the whole journey, and that's just something amazing, and it shows the value of having Jesus in our lives, doesn't it? I mean, I dipped in and out a lot because of my journeying with the military and things like that, and I suppose in a way my faith paid a bit of a price, but then at the same time, you know, we all learn different things. We all gain this amazing sort of life experience that it is valid, you know, from the moment that we're born, we've God's got that plan for us. And so yeah, I just feel like don't do it down, because I think it's amazing. I think
but I think we all make mistakes, don't we? You've made it sound like I've had a glowing Christian track record. I wouldn't say that. You know, I've had loads of wobbles and along my way, and I don't make the right decisions. But Tom calls me a faithful plodder, and I think that is what I am. So I'm not super spiritual. You know, I think if you could see my spiritual practices, I'd be ashamed. You know, I'm not. So don't put me up on a pedestal, because I will fall off.
Faithful plodder is good,
but I do think that is me. I am a faithful plodder, so I don't have extremes of emotion. I don't have extremes of spirituality. I'm not, you know, I'm just me and Jesus. And I do feel very, very loved and very protected and very safe with him. So I've kind of come, because I used to beat myself up that I don't read my Bible enough, I don't pray enough, I don't do all these things enough, and God's not about good, and even about good enough. I talk about to parents about being good enough, and that's fine, but with him, good enough doesn't even come into it. We don't have to even be good enough. We don't even need to do that. God loves us, and you know, his grace is for everyone, and we just need that mustard seed, tiny seed of faith. That's it. And we just need to say with our heart that we love him, and that's it. That's we're in.
That's it. We talk about this mustard seed so much with the children, don't we? And it's just so valid in our lives. So even if it does get planted at a young age, it's still going to be growing inside you, no matter where your life takes you.
And I think whatever we do as well, we can mess up really badly. We can do whatever, and yet he, you know, God forgives us. That is amazing.
Yeah, it is wonderful. And when I can remember when we met a bit before this, but we then ended up in the same life group as each other. And I can remember having a conversation with you about, I don't know how it had led to this. It was obviously a subject we'd all been talking about, but it was about how many Christian friends we've got and how many non-Christian friends. And we both evaluated at the time that you had majority Christian friends and I had majority non. And we wanted to swap roles in a way. I wanted to
share them out
more. And Mims wanted to experience having more non-Christian friends. So, and since then, Mims has started working in a school, and she's looking after all these young families, and so many of them are non-Christians. And you've gained lots of new friendships over in Hayward Village, haven't you? And I got my role in church. And I've gained all these.
That's true, actually, isn't it? I think that's why I had so many Christian friends, because we kind of came to a church, and that's kind of where I made my friends. Obviously on the school gate, but some schools are harder than others to make friends. But yeah, you're right. At Hayward Village, I've made lots of. I love my job, and so I've met some wonderful families, and I love doing.
It's amazing to see. Sometimes it's through those conversations that things start happening, and I think that's when we do listen to God clearly through those conversations in our house groups, in our Bible study, in conversations with other people who, you know, are our peers within the church. they help us look at our difficult situations or what we're thinking about at the time, and sometimes do help us evaluate it. Or you get put on this roller coaster by God because you're listening really hard and you can hear him, and you go on an amazing journey. So
but sometimes I think it's hard to distinguish, isn't it? Because people in general are kind, is what I've discovered. And so things like on Monday, we've got a member of staff that won't be able to be in, will find it difficult to go shopping because he's still isolating. So there's going to be a big box of stuff that people can donate to, and that will get delivered to his house. And another member of staff was off, and meals were provided, and a lot of love is shown. And so I think to shine Jesus's light, we've got to work even harder, because people are generally kind anyway. So we've got to be a bit more explicit, I think.
Yeah, definitely, and show that we can be even more proactive, which can be hard because people are so kind. I walk with a lady every day, and she just oozes it, and it's wonderful.
So I just put my glasses on, everyone. Andy's being really subtle and giving me a message, but I can't read it. 10 questions now, please.
10 questions.
You've got to ask me 10 questions, Cathy.
We've got to move on. Andy did prepare us.
Are we waffling?
We might get stuck with something to say, but
we could go on for hours and hours.
Yeah.
And we would probably get onto the menopause again.
They didn't hear that bit, but they did now.
That's the ladies later.
Right, I'm going to do our 10 quick fire questions that we normally do.
I'm going to try not to look.
Yeah, it's really good when it's quick fire. So, and hopefully you'll be a lot quicker than Tom at this. Number 1, what is your favourite word?
Free.
Free.
I love a bargain.
What is your least favourite word?
Hopeless.
Hopeless, yeah, definitely mine. What motivates you?
I forgot what my answer was for that. Holidays?
I can agree with that one for you, yeah. What demotivates you?
Oh, pointless tasks. Like writing a report that no one will read or that will never get actioned.
Andy's nodding on the other side of the screen here. What sound or noise do you love?
Giggling.
Giggling is the best, isn't it?
I haven't had a belly laugh for a long time. I love I love
you
that
need
sound.
to work with Andy. I get them all the time. Especially at the moment.
When you laugh so much it hurts. I love watching someone doing that or being the person.
No, we get it once a week while we're filming these school assemblies at the moment.
I've noticed kids laugh a lot more, which is so it's good to hang around kids.
Great, isn't it? Okay, so what sound or noise do you hate?
Cutting cardboard, corrugated cardboard. It's a bit like
blackboard
thing. It's a bit.
What is your comfort food, Mims?
I've got 2. One for summer, one for winter. Summer ice cream, winter toasties.
Oh, lovely. What is your hobby?
Do you know, I haven't really got one, which is awful. There's loads of things I like to do, and I'm talking too much. It's meant to be quick fire, but I don't really have one. I like exploring. So like Friday's day off, we love to go off and find somewhere to go, something to do, and sleeping. It's probably my hobby. Napping.
I love it. What job would you like to have?
Well, as I said, I love my job. It is my dream job. I would quite like to be a midwife, but only for like one day. I just want to see a baby being born, and then I'm done.
Yeah.
I don't want to be like that job forever.
Yeah. You just want to see the other
my
side
sons, if you're listening, speak to your partners when you're at that stage. I want to be there.
Yeah.
It's a bit of a pain. I wish I had daughters, and then they probably would invite me, but it's not gonna happen probably.
Oh, you never know. What would you like to hear God say when you arrive in heaven?
Grace is a good word, isn't it? In you come.
Yeah. Oh, I love it. And Andy's probably going to tell me off, but I do have one little question which hopefully can get. Now, he's not going to cut me off, but I just think will help everyone. I had been praying about what I could ask Mims, and something to maybe just give us some encouragement, because back in March we went into lockdown for 3 weeks. It ended up being 3 months, and now we're still here in another different kind of lockdown, but we're in it, aren't we? We're in the middle of the pandemic. Mims, what have you done to get through this? What sort of things have helped you stay motivated, encouraged, that you don't get anxious, and that you can keep going?
Okay. I'm kind of a worst case scenario person. So first of all, I'd say, what's the worst thing that can happen is kind of, this sounds really trite and I don't mean it to, but if you die, you're going to meet Jesus, so that's okay. I've kind of got through that. So that's the worst thing that can happen. So now it's about making the best of the situation, I think. So I've quite liked dialing down a bit. So I'm not as frenetic. There's not so much on. So I've quite enjoyed that. And I just think it's really important to try and keep up connections with people. So if there's something not happening, then make use of that time to give someone a call or keep in touch, and do those sorts of things. But there's no point in worrying, and I know that's easy to say. So I try not to. So just making the most of the people that you can see. I've been really fortunate, I suppose. I've carried on working. I know for some people it's they've lost jobs. It's been horrendous for some people. So I've been really probably protected from that, and have benefited from having my structure of my day kind of quite consistent, really. So I think if to empathise with those that have had quite a different struggle, I probably have a different answer. But for me, and I think we're really grateful for for Andy and Tom making church happen online. It's actually been really nice for me. So you can iron while you're at church, you can clean the kitchen while you're at church. It's just taking the rush out of things.
Looking at the positives that we can pull out of this difficult time.
It's not the same. I'm missing actually meeting up with people and properly connecting, and I really miss worshipping together. So I do sing along to the songs when people put them on. I'm singing in my room. It doesn't sound so good. I love worshipping all together, like singing and
I think that's something the young people miss as well, definitely.
There's loads of stuff that we used to do at church that I'm really missing. But we'll get there again.
We'll be back there doing it, and we've just got to make the most of these moments, haven't we, and try and get the best out of them. And we're really fortunate with Andy, with the young people, that we can worship together. We do mute ourselves, because even Andy doesn't sound great unmuted.
That was one of my comments about going to heaven. What would God say when you went to heaven?
What was that?
Was when people talk about heaven and worshipping like for 100,000, 10,000 years, I'm not looking forward to that. I love worshipping, but to think singing forever and ever So I think God might also say, it's all right, I've got a little quiet room for you. You can go and have a nap.
Yeah. I'm looking forward to the quiet rooms and the mountains. As much as the people. It's going to be great, isn't it? Well, Mims, thank you so much. And I'm sure the young people have really enjoyed listening to your faith journey and your lovely story. And just thank you so much for joining us.
Oh, it's been fab. And I can't wait to see all the young people again. I miss them. They give
well, they're all a lot taller. Quite a few voices have broken, yes.
And I hope they come back and help at Kids Club.
Oh, me too. I have got two that help online at Kids Club, so that's wonderful. But yeah, it'd be great to have more. We miss being with them all together. But thank you so much. And next week, guys, don't forget we're back onto our youth Bible study, or rather life group, isn't it? I think we've been calling it, Andy, our youth life group. Join Andy and I online at 7 o'clock next week. The link will be in our chat, and you will get to worship as well. So do come and join us. I'm sure Mims might join us one day as well.
If I'm allowed.
Oh, definitely.
Oh, I was too old.
Definitely. Yeah. We get lots of comments now, but anyway, don't forget to join us at 7 o'clock next week, guys, and look out for the link in our chat, and we will see you all soon. Lots of love.
Oh.
Bye.